In this episode of our fire cooking expedition around the world, we'll be visiting Sao Paulo, Brazil. When Gustavo Bottino, a Brazilian food friend who lives in Amsterdam these days, asked me to be a guest chef at the meat lovers Walhalla Churrascada in Sao Paulo, I couldn't believe it. This food festival brings chefs and guest chefs from around the world together to share their knowledge and passion for fire cooking. So of course I've confirmed my presence immediately and jumped on the plane to Brazil. Gustavo had arranged a pickup for us by two die-hard barbecue pros, Bruno Panhoca and Carlos Cunha. They would be our guides in Sao Paulo and took us straight away to a welcome dinner at Cadillac Barbecue. With some nice barbecue platters on the table and beers and cocktails flying around, we met up with a lot of other chefs who'd be cooking at the Churrascada festival. When tourists are visiting cities, they want to see the highest buildings, beautiful parks and some nice musea. For me, it's all about good food. So when Panhoca asked me if I'd like to visit Casa de Porco, a pork meat only restaurant, that beat my first stop. Together with a crew of chefs, we got a table and picked all kinds of delicious looking food from their menu. With some local beers and tasty courses like fried pork belly with guava jam and sushi of lacquered lardo, we were surprised by the versatile way of using pork in their menu. After lunch, we were pretty full. Panhoca couldn't care less and insisted we had to make a quick stop at Hot Pork, a hot dog shop of the same owner as Casa de Porco, who created a fine dining hot dog. This by adding some homemade ketchup and fermented mustard with tucapi, a root from the Amazon. Even with this hot dog top-up, there's always room for dessert.
Tu tira uma foto com a gente e sai como? Tá bom.
Some milk ice cream, caramel sauce, bacon, and crispy pork skin. What's not to like? Still full from lunch, Panhoca and Carlos took us for dinner to the UNDERDOG, a laid-back burger, beer and barbecue bar where we skipped the burger bar in the front and went all the way to the back of the complex. Here we found all the chefs who'd be cooking at Churrascada. They gathered around the parrilla bar and we filled ourselves up with beer, whiskey and a continuous serving of carne.
In Sao Paulo, it's like a big culinary city with gastronomy all over the places, and we thought it was like a good idea to have personality, like a trash place, underground kind of stuff. So the underdog, the meaning of the word is like not the loser, but it's kind of like not pretentious. And now we have here a bar, butchery kind of place. The parrilla, that's like the main idea of the house, that we cook the meat in wood and charcoal, and the burgers. So it's like 4 different places, and the whole thing is like dysfunctional. We can't find out how it works, but it works.
The power of the right vibe, with the right company, the no-nonsense interior, and tasty dishes prepared in front of you on the Argentinian grill really impressed me. We were hooked and stayed until we were comatized by the relentless amounts of beers, meat and whiskey. If you're in Brazil, especially Sao Paulo, you have to eat at Dom. It's the restaurant of Alex Atala. He's a god here in Brazil and he stands for authentic cooking using traditional ingredients from the Amazon even, but with a modern twist using today's cooking skills. Now we're gonna go inside, find out what this cooking is all about. Time for some epic food shots. a 12-course lunch, accompanied by the same number of glasses of wine, you think it's time to relax. No, in Brazil, it's time to work on your festival food. The festival was set in an old factory, where when we arrived, a lot of other people were already building up their installations and prepping their meat. We had to pick up our meat and ingredients from a big cooling truck in a dark alley, which had a Hollywood drug dealing kind of vibe. After we got all our stuff together, our 4 80-kilogram hogs got delivered in style. The pigs were still frozen, but we had to put them on the grill fast, so they could be slow smoked for the next 13 hours. In a hurry, I started to put the 200 kilograms of filling into the 4-killer hogs and sew them right up. Churrascada is all about improvising, so with the help of my new friends, we made a hillbilly grill from steel pipes and metal sheets. While we were busy putting our hogs on the grill, some other guys were going next level, slow smoking a whole cow. With a forklift and massive rotating mechanism, they attached the split open cow to their steel construction and maintained their fires overnight.
So we're cooking at Churrascada, and I came up with a brilliant idea because I made a really good recipe in book 2. It's a stuffed piglet with sausage stuffing inside. And then I said to Gustavo, who organizes this fine festival, and he said, great idea. But from a little piglet, I went to the biggest hogs I've ever seen. Okay, so when we started prepping yesterday, we already ran into the problem. It was still frozen. So we tried our best to get it defrosted on time. And in the meantime, we made a killer stuffing, which is of chorizo, local Brazilian sausage, some onion, sage, and some red wine and breadcrumbs, and just mixed it up in there. We cooked that inside the hog. Delicious. And then we also made the esquites, which is the Mexican street corn salad. So we fire roasted some corn, we cut up some chives, and we mix it up with Parmesan cheese, some mayonnaise, and some lime juice, and gives it a little bit of zing, add some freshness to the dish. And we made a killer sauce as well. That's gonna add some punch. It's a spicy adobo demi-glace, and that will just, finish it off really nicely. Muy caliente! So that's what we all did in the prep. And then last night, we started working on the hogs at around 11. And first we had to really stuff them, sew them all up, and then we wanted to put them on the spit. That was the original idea. Unfortunately, that didn't really work out because the spits were too short for these massive hogs. So we had to improvise, and that's all about, when you do barbecuing, you have to improvise. We refigured the rig, and we've now been slow smoking them, kind of like indirect grilling, just because we increased the distance between the fire and the pigs. And we started doing that at 2 a.m. and we cooked them for, we stayed with the hogs till 4 a.m. Then we did a little shut-eye until 6 a.m. and we've been with the hogs ever since. And we're about to open the gates, and I'm very excited to see how the Brazilian guests are going to respond to our dish.
When the first guests were entering the festival area, I noticed that our grilled corn salad would never be enough to feed 1,000 hungry Brazilians. So I asked Gustavo for some extra corn. But instead of coming back with some bags, he brought a street vendor with the biggest smile I've ever seen. This guy just sold his pushcart full of corn before his day had even started. The line was building up at our stand, and with the hogs ready to serve, we were open for business. The Churrascada festival is something I've never seen before. In this old industrial area, everyone was using different kinds of fire cooking techniques and had built the most incredible and odd-looking cooking installations. From parrillas and infanillos to salt-crusted beef and even a chicken wired smoke construction full with black pepper rubbed beef.
Eu estou preparando o vazio com black rub, que é um tempero meu. Vou defumar no varal e depois eu vou finalizar na parrilha e servir numa tortilha, com pico de galo e sour cream.
People from all Brazil came to here to one day to have a lot of fun, to eat a lot of different types of meat. Churrascada is we're trying to open mind to show how different kinds of barbecue you have in the world.
I was doing barbecue since I was 5-6 years old. And then about 4 years, it's now my job to be a barbecuer. In Brazil we call churrasqueiro.
We're trying to let Brazil get a little taste of American barbecue.
And we want to learn too. We're learning.
We're learning so much.
We're learning so much. We never see anything like this in the States. We're even learning from the Dutch guy in South America too. So
The
it's
crazy
fun.
Dutchman.
Yeah. You know, everybody loves barbecue. The rich people, the poor people.
Yeah, and it's
every
like,
ethnicity.
it's not pretentious. It's laid back. It's good food. And you're always learning something. There's always something to learn from somebody else. You can never get bored doing the same old thing.
The essence of the festival itself is basically to show great food, taking chefs out of the comfort zone of their fancy, well-equipped kitchens and work only with wood and charcoal. Churrascada is an environment that chefs can really explore and give them a chance to try and even make mistakes, you know? Great recipes, sometimes they come out of mistakes. So.
The chefs created a feast full of different fire-cooked dishes, with fish, all kinds and cuts of meat, and even veggies. But also sweet dishes, or dulce as they are called here, were incredibly popular. From slow-smoked bananas to crepes smeared with dulce de leche, which are burned with caramelized sugar.
So here we have all the organic bananas. You roast with the skin. So we can eat the skin as well to be a little bit crunchy, and then inside is like sweet and soft. So after that, we put all the bananas inside the file to finish, and all the sugar comes out. So we mix with the cake, sugar, cinnamon, and matcha powder. So it's really good. Nice.
Barbecue in Brazil is really a celebration. It's family, friends gathered for hours. It's really to be amongst friends and the people you love. That's what barbecue is all about.
The one thing that really stands out from this trip is the Brazilian hospitality. We've been hanging out with these chefs and butchers for a few days now, and as soon as we got off the plane, things clicked. There was beer, there was meat, and there was a lot of laughter. So it's really, really good to be here and to do this festival together with everybody else.
It was incredible how the fire cooking culture felt so ingrained with the Brazilians. People of all ages were tasting every cut of meat, enjoying the music, dancing, and of course, drinking a beer or two. Churrascada. The Brazilians loved it, and so did I. After 2 days of sleep deprivation and a meat overload, I fell into a deep sleep. Recovered from all the food and drinks we had, it was time for a quiet day. So we headed to yet another food festival that week, Fartura, an all-Brazilian food festival with a lot of incredible and unknown tastes the Amazon has to offer. After tasting all the good stuff of Brazil at Fartura Festival, we got a last-minute invite of Gustavo to join him and his parents at the restaurant of Roberto Ravioli, a Brazilian-Italian TV chef we've met at the Churrascada Festival. Plans for our light dinner went down the drain when Roberto himself joined us at the table. He kept ordering dish after dish, and for us the noble task to finish them all. We practically tasted his whole menu, from braised tripe to piccata and pastas, washing it all down with the best Italian wines you can find in Brazil. After this hedonistic experience, we had one last day to prevent ourselves from not going into a food coma. On the last day of our adventure through Sao Paulo, we joined Panhoca after a copious breakfast to visit the famous Mercado Municipal.
So we're here at the Mercado Central in Sao Paulo, which still is a great place to find local food. Besides doing groceries, there are two really good food items to eat here as well. Which are those?
They are the mortadella sandwich, that's the bologna sandwich, a big mortadella sandwich, and the codfish pastel, and the local fruits that you have to prove.
All right, sounds great. Let's go in and get exploring.
One.
Having visited the fish, fruit and meat stand in the Mercado, we were ready to follow into the footsteps of Anthony Bourdain by devouring a mortadella sandwich of Bardomane. A sandwich stacked with 300 grams of meat from the griddle with some melted cheddar on top. A nice way to start the day with a light snack.
So Panhoca, what do we have here?
Oh, we're here at the Central Market in Sao Paulo and have a typical sandwich from this place that is the mortadella sandwich. Or bologna sandwich. They are made of a bunch of mortadella, a little bit of cheese that we call here prato cheese. It's a yellow cheese, a simple cheese, and simple bread. The creation of this sandwich is to feed the workers of the market. After the work, they are starving, and Mané, the creator of the sandwich, put a lot of mortadella to make them feel comfortable and to continue the work.
Sounds good. Let's try it.
At the center of the Mercado, we tasted another local specialty, pastel de bacalhau, a deep-fried pastry the size of an iPad, generously filled with fresh codfish and herbs, served with a spicy pepper mayonnaise. While we were completely full of these breakfast bites, the last stop of our journey through Sao Paulo was for a lunch at Barbacoa, a Brazilian barbecue restaurant, locally known as a churrascaria, with about 23 different cuts of meat. And a quick spoiler alert, we had to taste them all.
We're here in Barbacoa, Sao Paulo, and we are here together with Jefferson, who is the owner of this beautiful place, to find out one true thing, because we know rodizio in Europe, but it's not the right name, no?
Yes.
This is
a churrascaria brasileira. The name is rodizio. It's a typical Brazilian system to eat barbecue. In English, I have an all-you-can-eat, but I don't like to use the all-you-can-eat because here we have a quality. You don't need it to eat everything. Our system is very simple. We have a salad bar here and 20 cuts of meat. Here we have this button, two colors, green and red side. It's very simple. Usually starts with salad. When do you want meat? Just put the green side. I have 10 guys to bring the meat for you in the table. If you have a break, red side. Start again, green side. Well, you need to have a space.
For us, it was different. Jefferson wanted us to try every single one of them, and the skewers of meat kept on passing by. First there were ribeyes, picanhas, lamb chops and other steaks that never tasted so good. After a while, Jefferson also presented some special cuts, such as the hump of the back of an Indian cow, morcilla, a blood sausage, and some paio de queijo, classical Brazilian cheese puffs. With our bellies getting bigger and bigger by the minute, we couldn't even nibble a single olive off of the 10-meter long impressive salad bar. And when we were practically throwing our towels into the ring, an overloaded dessert trolley was presented to us. Jefferson must have spotted the sheer terror in our eyes and served only a single slice of dulce de leche cake, with some extra dulce de leche on top. Sao Paulo surprised us, and how. With the incredible hospitality of all the chefs we met, the different kinds of food we tasted, and the adventures we made along the way, it showed us the true experience of cooking with fire. It's about meeting people, try out modern and old school techniques, and taste all kinds of flavors. But above all, it's about having fun with the new friends you make along the way. Wow, what a city, what a ride.